Late one night in New York City, a broke single father gives away his last $27 to a frightened stranger at a bus stop. By morning, that simple act of kindness pulls him into a dangerous web of betrayal, power, and truth, one that will test his morals and change his family forever. Before we dive in, drop a comment with where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. Let's begin. New York had a way of making good people feel invisible. Caleb Monroe stood outside the loading dock of Northline Logistics with a cardboard box in his arms and a termination letter folded like a knife in his pocket. The HR manager wouldn't meet his eyes. Security, two men with identical silver compass pins on their lapels, walked him out as if he were dangerous. Caleb kept repeating the same sentence, calmer each time, like calm could change reality. "I didn't steal anything. They said the inventory tablets went missing on his shift. They said the cameras confirmed it." When Caleb asked to see the footage, the HR manager's mouth tightened and she said the decision was final. He didn't even get to say goodbye to the guys he'd worked beside for 4 years. By nightfall he'd done the math 10 times. Rent overdue. Phone bill. Sophie's school lunches. The stack of late notices on the kitchen counter. In the end, the only number that mattered sat in his wallet like a verdict. $27. Sophie, 7 years old, bright-eyed, missing one front tooth, was asleep at home in their tiny Queens apartment. Caleb had promised her earlier that everything would be fine. He had said it the way fathers said things they wished were true. Now he sat at a bus stop near Jackson Avenue, staring at the streetlights reflecting in puddles, and tried not to think about morning. That's when he noticed the woman. She didn't arrive like someone going somewhere. She arrived like someone running out of places to run. A blonde woman, no older than 30, stumbled into the glow of the bus stop lamp and collapsed onto the bench. She wore a hooded coat that looked expensive but was soaked and smeared with something dark near the sleeve. She kept checking over her shoulder like she expected the night to reach out and grab her. Her hands shook as she counted coins. "Come on, please," she whispered, as if her own palm could answer. Caleb told himself not to get involved. City rules. Survival rules. But then she let out a soft, broken breath, and the sound was too human to ignore. "I'm sorry," she said to Caleb without really looking at him. I just need $275. I have $120. Her voice cracked. "I can't stay here." Caleb glanced at the street. A bus rumbled in the distance. The woman's eyes darted toward it and then back to the road behind them. Fear sat on her face like frost. He opened his wallet. The bills were worn. Real. His last. He hesitated long enough to feel ashamed of himself. Then he pulled the money out and held it toward her. All of it. The woman blinked as if she hadn't understood. "No," she whispered. "No, I can't take, sir, that's too much." "It's not," Caleb said, though his stomach tightened. "Take it." Her fingers closed around the cash. Tears filled her eyes fast, like a dam breaking. "I'll repay you," she said. "I promise." This isn't," she swallowed hard. "Thank you. I didn't think anyone would." Caleb nodded. He didn't ask questions. A man without power learned not to demand explanations from someone in pain. But as she stood to board the bus, Caleb noticed something that made his skin prickle. Across the street, a black sedan sat with its lights off, idling too quietly. The driver's face was hidden. The car hadn't been there 5 minutes ago. The woman noticed it too. Her body stiffened. Her gaze locked on the sedan for a single terrifying second. Then she forced herself to move, stepping onto the bus like she was stepping off a ledge. Before the doors closed, she looked back at Caleb and said one more thing, so soft he almost missed it. "If you ever hear the name Lawson, remember you helped me." The bus pulled away. The black sedan rolled forward behind it. Caleb watched the taillights vanish, unaware he had just become a loose thread in a much larger knot. Morning came too fast. Caleb walked Sophie to school with a smile that felt heavy on his face. He told her he was between jobs, and she accepted it because she still believed in him. When he came back up the apartment stairs, his phone buzzed again with an overdue rent warning. And then came the knock, firm, controlled, the knock of people who never waited. When Caleb opened the door, his hallway filled with polished shoes and dark suits. 3 black SUVs were parked outside the building like a movie set. 2 security men stood at the bottom of the stairs. One woman in a tailored coat stepped forward, removing sunglasses. It was her. Same blonde hair, now neatly styled. Same face, now composed. But the eyes were unchanged, tired, cautious, carrying last night like a scar. "Caleb Monroe?" she asked. Caleb froze. He hadn't told her his last name. "Yes," he said slowly. "Who are you really?" She took a breath. "My name is Avery Lawson." The name hit like thunder. Lawson, the Lawson family. Billion-dollar city contracts. Foundations. Press conferences. Caleb had seen their name on transit ads and headlines. Avery's voice stayed calm, but her fingers tightened around the strap of her bag like she was holding herself together. "I didn't come to intimidate you," she said. "I came to repay you. And to thank you properly." Caleb stared at the security detail, the SUVs, the expensive calm of the scene. "Why were you at that bus stop?" Avery's gaze flicked toward the street, as if checking for the same sedan. "Because someone wanted me there." Caleb felt the air in his lungs turn colder. Avery stepped closer, lowering her voice. "Last night, my phone and wallet were taken. But that was only the first layer. Someone attempted to access my company accounts from a device that was already logged into internal systems." She paused. "Someone also erased city camera footage near that bus stop." Caleb's brow furrowed. "City cameras can be erased?" "Not easily," Avery said. "Unless you know the software that stores them." Caleb didn't like the direction this was going. Then Avery said the sentence that made his stomach drop. "I also know you were fired yesterday. For theft." Caleb's jaw clenched. "I was framed." "I believe you," Avery said simply. "Because men who steal don't hand away their last money." Caleb didn't answer. In his mind he saw Sophie's face, the way she had asked, "Are we okay?" Avery's eyes softened. "I'm not asking you to be a hero," she said. "I'm asking you to help me find the truth. If someone can erase public footage and move money inside my company, they can do worse." Caleb hesitated. "Why me?" Avery held his gaze. "Because whoever did this expects people like you to stay quiet. And you didn't. You did the right thing when it cost you." She slid a business card across the threshold. Thick paper. Simple lettering. A direct line. "Come to my office," she said. "Let me offer you a job. And let me tell you what I haven't told anyone else." Caleb looked at the card like it was a door into another life. And then Avery added, barely above a whisper. "You weren't the first person they framed. Just the easiest." Avery's headquarters in Manhattan felt unreal to Caleb. Glass walls. Quiet floors. Employees who spoke softly like loud voices were a sin. She met him in a conference room with the blinds drawn. "No board members," she said. "No assistants. No Marcus." Caleb caught the name. "Marcus who?" Avery's face tightened. "Marcus Klein. My COO." She placed a folder on the table. Inside were printed logs, vendor invoices, and security records. Caleb scanned them like a man used to checking numbers for survival. And that's what made him useful. He noticed patterns. The same vendor billed multiple times with tiny spelling changes, Lawson Security Solutions versus Lawson Security Solutions. A duplicate account accessed a database at 2:14 a.m. and again at 2:28 a.m. The second access came from a location near Queens. Near that bus stop. Caleb frowned. If someone used your internal systems to erase footage, the person has high-level access. Avery nodded. That's why I haven't accused anyone. Caleb flipped a page and stopped. A maintenance badge ID printed on a log, 217K. His blood ran cold. Because on his termination letter, in small print at the bottom, was a reference code, 217K beside a signature initial, M.K., Caleb looked up slowly. That code, it's connected to my firing. Avery went still. Marcus Klein, she whispered again, this time like she was saying a prayer she didn't believe in. Caleb leaned back, thinking. The night we met, you were scared of being followed. Avery's hands curled into fists. I was. Caleb reached into the folder and found a grainy still image pulled from partially recovered street footage. The image was corrupted, but one detail stood out, blurred, yet unmistakable, a man in a suit near the corner, watching. On his lapel was a tiny silver gleam. A compass pin. Caleb's throat tightened. Northline Security wore those exact pins. Avery stared at the image, jaw clenched. My security team uses compass pins too, she said quietly. It's a Lawson tradition. My father's symbol. Caleb felt the twist tighten. So either your people were watching you, or someone is pretending to be your people. Avery's eyes darkened. My father, she said, voice strained, is not a gentle man. After my mother died, he didn't grieve. He organized. He controlled. Caleb watched her carefully. Does he control your company? Avery didn't answer immediately. Then she said, he believes I owe him my life. And Marcus? Marcus has been his favorite advisor since I was 22. Caleb understood then, this wasn't just corporate fraud. It was family. A past that wouldn't stay buried. Avery leaned closer. Caleb, I didn't just get robbed, she whispered. Someone tried to make me look unstable. Like I lost control. Like I couldn't lead. Caleb's eyes narrowed. So someone could take your place. Avery swallowed. Yes. Caleb stared at the compass pin in the photo and made a decision he could feel in his bones. If they're willing to destroy you, he said, they're willing to destroy my daughter too. Avery's voice broke just slightly. That's why I'm asking for your help. And for the first time, Caleb understood that his $27 wasn't kindness anymore. It was a spark. They built the trap with patience. Avery scheduled a closed board meeting and hinted, carefully, that she had evidence of internal sabotage and planned to name the person responsible. Marcus Klein insisted on attending. Avery allowed it, pretending she had no choice. Caleb went in as a compliance consultant, wearing a borrowed blazer and carrying a notebook like armor. The boardroom was polished wood and controlled smiles. Marcus arrived last, confident, wearing that same compass pin like it belonged to him more than anyone. He looked at Caleb and smirked. Warehouse to boardroom, he said. That's ambitious. Caleb didn't react. Avery stood at the head of the table, calm and sharp. Someone wiped city footage, she said. Someone accessed my accounts. Someone routed funds through fake vendors. Someone staged a robbery. Marcus leaned back. Avery, you're under stress. Don't embarrass yourself. The words were soft, but the intent was brutal. Caleb spoke carefully. The footage wipe had a specific pattern, he said. A 14-minute auto loop interrupted by manual override. That's not common knowledge. Marcus's eyes flicked toward him, annoyed. That camera wipes every 14 minutes unless flagged, Marcus snapped, then stopped. Silence fell like a curtain. Avery turned slowly. 14 minutes, she repeated. Interesting. Marcus's smile froze. Avery's attorney opened the door. Behind him were federal agents and NYPD. Marcus stood abruptly. "This is insane," he said, "too loud, too fast." One agent stepped forward. "Marcus Klein, you are under arrest for fraud, obstruction, and conspiracy." As they cuffed him, Marcus's gaze slid to Caleb, cold, steady, almost amused. He leaned in, close enough that only Caleb heard. "You think honesty makes you safe?" Marcus whispered. "You have a daughter. You know what leverage is." Caleb's stomach turned to ice. Marcus was led away. The board members sat stunned, suddenly aware they'd been breathing poison for years. Avery didn't move. She watched Marcus leave like she was watching a storm exit a city, knowing damage remained even after the clouds passed. Caleb looked at Avery. "Is your father involved?" Avery's face tightened. "Not directly," she said. "Not provably. That's how he survives." Outside the building, cameras already waited. News trucks. Reporters. The story would become a headline. But Caleb wasn't thinking about headlines. He was thinking about Sophie. And the fact that powerful people didn't forgive. Caleb's name was cleared within days. Northline quietly admitted procedural errors, and offered him his job back and a settlement to keep him silent. Caleb refused both. "It's not justice if they buy my silence," he told Avery. Avery offered him something different, real work inside her company, ethics, compliance, transparency. Not glamorous. Not fast. But honest. Caleb accepted because Sophie deserved a life where the floor didn't collapse beneath them every month. Weeks turned into months. The danger faded but didn't disappear. Caleb still checked over his shoulder sometimes. Still watched strange cars. Still held his wife's ring when fear rose. Avery slowly became part of their routine. She came to Sophie's school play and sat in the back, clapping quietly like she didn't want to take up too much space. She brought dinner sometimes, simple food, not catered trays. She listened to Sophie's stories without looking at her phone. One night, Sophie asked her directly, as children did. "Are you gonna leave like everyone else?" Avery's eyes filled. "No," she said softly. "Not if your dad lets me stay." Later, when Sophie fell asleep, Caleb stood with Avery on the apartment building's small balcony, Manhattan lights far away like another universe. "I didn't do it for this," Caleb said quietly. "That night. I didn't give you the money expecting." "I know," Avery said. "That's why it mattered." Caleb swallowed hard. Sophie already lost her mom. If I let her love someone and they disappear. Avery stepped closer. "I didn't come back to repay money," she said. "I came back because I was drowning and you treated me like a human being. And because your honesty made me remember what my mother tried to teach me." Caleb looked at her. "Which is?" Avery's voice trembled. "That kindness is the only power that doesn't corrupt." Caleb felt something break open in him, fear, grief, hope, all tangled. He didn't make a speech. He simply told the truth. "I love you," he said. "And I hate that it scares me." Avery's smile was small and real. "I loved you first," she whispered. "At the bus stop. When you gave away your last $27. They didn't rush. They built slowly, carefully, like people who understood how fragile hearts were. Months later, they married in a small ceremony, no press, no board members, no power games, just a quiet promise that honesty would be their foundation. The story ends with Caleb, Avery, and Sophie walking together through the city, still loud, still dangerous, still New York. But for the first time, Caleb felt steady. Because one act of kindness hadn't just saved a stranger. It had exposed a lie, healed a family wound, and turned the darkest moment of his life into a beginning. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more stories that stay with you.